Hello and welcome to Elevate. I'm going to turn down this music. How are you all? Today we're going to talk about peace, being peaceful in a divided world and in a day where both myself and the beautiful Etty Ayalon is with me. Welcome to the show, Etty. Oh, I've muted her. Let me unmute her. So we can hear her. Welcome to
Hi,
the show,
everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
On a day where we're both feeling really stressed, we were just talking about it. I was chatting to the angels. We're talking about peace, so we're directly addressing it personally in our own lives, right here, right now, right, Etty? As
Absolutely.
We talk about how do we overcome stress in our lives, stress in the world, and find that energy of peace, as we are here to do as light weavers, light workers, star seeds. Few people online. G'day, Sun, and the beautiful Heidi, and the gorgeous Shirley, who's normally with us every show. Is her daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to your beautiful daughter. So she can't join us on the live. She said she'll listen back to the recording. Well, have we got a powerful show for you today? We're going to talk about peace. We're going to talk about how to create peace in a world divided. And we're going to read a channeling from somebody that you would think would be who has died. You would think who wouldn't be at peace because of the way he died. But from the other side, as I always say, when you speak to dead people, they are never upset that they were killed or murdered or that they're dead because they are swimming in this world of peace and bliss, and they're with the angels. And it's here. I was speaking to a young man yesterday whose mother's dying of cancer, and I was probably a bit bold. I said, she's in her 70s and she's got stage 4. I said, are you prepared for her death? And he said, I haven't even thought about that. And, because being at peace with somebody's transition is really where we're going with today's show. And I said, well, dying is easy. It's living that's hard. Right, Etty? Dying is easy. It's living that's hard.
That's right. You are. When we leave our body, then we are at peace,
Right. Yeah. And the trick is can we find that peace before we leave the body and make that peace in the world, create that peace in the world. So the beautiful Etty Ayalon is with me. She's a friend and a light worker and works in a charity, helping Jewish people in a Jewish charity. And I wanted to talk about peace because in Australia, there is so much upset going on. There's every weekend, there are people out there marching, upset about one thing or another, which is actually a good thing in many ways, because it means that there are a lot of people wanting change, wanting something to be different, but they don't actually understand how, as genius creators, we create that peace in the world. Like, we create what it is that we want. We see what we don't want, and then we get upset about it. And when we yell and scream about it, right? But that is actually not being a vibrational match to what it is that we're summoning. But years ago, over 20 years ago, I was facilitating the Academy of Light, which was every week we'd put on a guest speaker and meditate and, talk about peace and ascension and bliss. And I didn't see anything changing in the world. I didn't see anything happening. And I remember sitting in bed one night talking to my guide saying, how is this going to come about? How is this big shift, this big change in the world going to come about? And they gave me these images of people protesting out on the streets, many of them, masses of them. And I'm like sitting in bed looking at this image of all these people protesting. And I said, that's how ascension and peace and, the new world is going to come about. And they said, initially, yes, this is how the shift happens. First you see something you don't want. Then you get upset about it. And then in your upset, you take action from your upset. And once you realize that taking action from upset doesn't change anything, then you find new ways to change things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What about you, Etty? What do you feel about that?
Wow. Sorry, please excuse me, Karen. I'm going to get back to you in 1 second.
Sure. Okay. Etty's actually supposed to be at work. She's supposed to be at work. I'll just take her off screen for a minute. She's supposed to be at work, so she's got work calling her. It's 8:00 in the morning here in Sydney. So she's got work calling her, and I said, no problem. If work calls you, we just take you off screen and pop you back on when you need to come back on. But she's got something really powerful to share with us today, which she sent to me. It's a channeling from this young man who was killed on October 7th at the music festival in Israel, when they went into this music festival full of beautiful light workers, young people, just, young people having a good time. And there was this slaughter of all these people in this music festival. And that's sort of when this war that continues to go, well, it didn't start there, but it ramped up more than anything over that event. And that's what a lot of people in Australia are protesting about, because, one side is trying to kill the other side and the other side is trying to kill, but one's stronger than, and atrocities are happening and lots of people are being murdered. And there's a lot of people across the world that are not happy about this. They're not happy about the war. They're not happy about a lot of things. And as I say, they're out there on the streets protesting and talking about what they don't want. But last time we did the Elevate show, I was talking about thought forms and vibrational spheres, how when we have a thought and we align with an energy, we connect to a vibrational sphere. And I mentioned the protests, and I got an interesting comment from somebody who watched the show afterwards, because I was talking about peace and I was just talking about the energy of protests, or the energy of a football game, that when you go into a crowd and everyone has that same energy, you can get swept up in it. Can you hold your energy of peace while you're amongst people that are really angry? Really, this is something that we are here to try and do, to experience the challenge we have as humans to try and hold that energy of peace, even amongst the stress in our lives. And I got this really interesting comment saying, it seems that you justify the atrocities that Israel is committing on Gaza and are denying the genocide. Every time I listen to you dismiss the horrors perpetrated against Palestine, it makes me think that you have completely dehumanized them and that you've chosen to be willingly ignorant to the worst crimes imaginable. So this person's obviously really angry at what's going on. And she said she listens to me because she likes the topic, but she's ready to unsubscribe. So here she is in her upset, wanting peace, wanting people to live in harmony, wanting this, but buying into the energy. And then we were talking about that, of division and war. So can I, and when you're like on one side, whether it's a football game or whether it's a religion or whatever side that you take, you can't really hear anything that doesn't gel with your worldview, like the bubble that you're swimming in, the vibrational sphere. And she's, upset that I don't agree with her. But it's not that I don't agree with her, but she's also trying to hurt me in some way by saying, I'm going to unsubscribe. Like, how can I hurt you in some way? It's really interesting. So my message to her was that this is the type of thing we were talking about. When one is attached to an energy of division, you hear me talk about peace and think I'm taking a side. War against anyone is not the answer or a way to stay connected to your higher self or to your inner guidance. I also want Palestine to be free, and I want all people to be free and live in a peaceful world. Being angry at what is happening and taking sides is not creating the peace and the unity collectively we are seeking in this world. And obviously, when you're upset at the atrocities in the world, it is a reflection of the upset where you feel things are unfair in your own life. And so, I hope that everyone finds peace around the conflicts that they have in their own life, because it is presented on the world stage. Let's see. Oh, Etty's got her thumb up.
Hi, everyone. Please accept my apologies. I am on call at the moment from work, and I did let KAren know because we are doing very important work in the background to spread peace.
Right.
So please forgive me if I have to escape for a few moments again, and KAren will fill in peace in a modern world.
So Etty is a girlfriend of mine who is obviously a Jewish, part of the Jewish community. I'm not. I don't belong to any one religion or any one race. I don't really feel like I belong to any sort of part. I'm female, so I can say I'm female. But more than anything, I feel like I'm a soul having a human experience rather than a human having a spiritual experience. And when talking about division and how we identify with ourselves, before we were white or black or male or female or Muslim or Hindu or Christians or Jewish, we were souls. And really, this is the identity that when we put our focus on that identity, that will create peace in the world. Because when we focus on, because I get invited to a lot of women's stuff, right? And I also say, why can't we invite the men? Like, why just get together with women? I know you do a lot of women's things too, because I feel very inclusive. And I actually remember being a man more than I do a woman in past lives. So like division is what we explore here on earth. We explore division when really from our spiritual perspective, we are one. And what do you want to say about that, darling?
And so, we explore division because the purpose is to remember that we are one. And so it's through the contrast that we remember, because you can't have one without the other, and I would also like to share that I'm also Israeli, so this is very, very close to my heart. And as a light worker, to find the strength to rise above the division.
Right.
Rise above the division, because it's really easy to get caught in the taking a side and in the upset. However, in this time, what we are called to be doing is really to dig so much deeper into remembering our light and that we are one and coming together in unity. The only way to get through this time is to anchor more light, which brings more peace. It's a roll-on effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And although that we wear these human clothes, which come with religious ideology and dogma and identity as male, female, black, white, yellow, whatever color, race, religion, socioeconomic background we belong to, if we do come back to that identity that we are source, we are soul, we are spirit, playing in the human world, wearing these human clothes, and we can take that off at the end of the day. Well, we do every night. We take off that human identity and we reemerge and play in spirit realms when we sleep at night. And then eventually we finish our time here. And sometimes our time is long and sometimes it's very short. But never, when you're psychic and you speak, as I say, when you speak to the other side, never is the time, even a baby that is, that dies, never is the time an issue like, oh, I was only there for a short time. And in this, I want to go to the channeling. Like, let's go to the channeling. Just before I say that, look, I was talking to Etty a few months ago when a lot of problems were happening here. A lot of protests to free Palestine were happening here. And as I say, people are angry and out there protesting, but really what they're wanting is they want the atrocities to stop, whether it's no matter what side it's coming from, but they're just focusing on one side. I was saying here in this cushy country called Australia, there aren't any terrible things happening here, are there? And she said, Karen, do you remember? They're up the road from me in like an eastern suburb of Sydney, Australia. Somebody exploded a car, like a car bomb went off because this person was Jewish. And I said, no, that's not happening.
Not only a car bomb, a restaurant, a synagogue, like a kindergarten. It's unfortunately here.
It's here.
It's here. Who would have ever thought? But it is here. And there are protests every Sunday. Every Sunday. And, if they were true protests for peace, then one, they wouldn't be violent or angry or chanting, we would be able to walk together united in harmony, with a vision for peace, and that would be a peaceful message.
Yeah. This morning I Googled Australian protest marches, August 2025, and these are the images that come up when you put that into a search engine. Mostly the mainstream media does want to show you all the violence. There are people out there marching peacefully and singing song and holding hands and talking about unity, and then the mainstream media gets out there and they want to show you people with blood on their face. They want to show you all the violence. But yeah, this is happening. I guess this is happening all around the world, Etty, right? This is happening around the world.
It is happening around the world, and they're showing this to us because this is how they keep us hooked in. They keep us hooked into this energy of fear and division. And so when we call to rise above that, the only way to disseminate the fear and the division is to find points of light, because of course what we focus on is what we create. Where our thoughts are is where is where we're going and where our reality is. And so if that's constantly in our mindset and that's triggering us to pick a side, to, be in fear, oh my goodness, what's the world coming to? They are succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's up to us to actually go, hold on a minute. Since when do we buy into what the media tells us? It's a program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with all of this. And because we're right in the beginning of the shift, whoever you want to call them, those energies are doing whatever it takes to keep us hooked in because they are losing control. So it's getting bigger and louder.
Yeah, and louder, bigger and louder and bigger and louder. Yeah.
And so we need to work harder and dig deeper to stay in our light, to anchor more light and find the points of light so that we can actually somehow disseminate that. Because if we see that and we also buy into it and say, oh my God, they're terrible, they're terrorists, they're murderers, rapists, whatever, we are also keeping them stuck in that.
Yeah.
And so we need to somehow find in our hearts.
We need to find that energy of peace. So I want to ask you, how are you feeling now? Because the two of us were both really stressed before we went live, right? Etty's got work, calling, where are you? And I've got gardeners out there making a lot of noise who was supposed to be finished days ago. And I'm as I tuned in, Etty was looking for some earplugs just 10 minutes before we went live. And I tuned in. I'm like, how do I get rid of this stress? And I have to say, I tuned into, is it Keshet?
Yes.
That you're going to bring. And he came through. Oh my God, it's going to make me cry looking at this photo. He came through and there were all these people behind him. And I'm like, who are you with? And then he didn't really say anything. I just adjusted my inner focus and I realized that he was there with this army of angels. And so I'm here perceiving the angels. And I said, I can see you, I can perceive you, but I still feel stressed. And they were saying, well, that stresses you. I said, can you help me alleviate this stress? They said, we can send you beautiful energy, but it's up to you to alleviate your own stress. And I said, well, how do I do that? They showed me this bubble around me of the stress, the thoughts that I was engaging in. And it was like this barrier to their energy, to that. When I say their energy, my energy, the energy of spirit, the energy of soul, the energy of source, and this barrier of stress. So I want to ask you, how are you feeling right now? Because I feel a lot better having this conversation. You feeling better?
Of course, yes, absolutely feeling better. Still, on call, but feeling better. Sorry. And on that, I actually have to take the phone. There are a few hiccups.
Oops, I just took her off stage again. Yeah, so I want Etty to read this. This is a beautiful young man called Keshet, who was one of the young people killed in the October 7th music festival. And it's hard when these beautiful young people die. Well, it's hard seeing anybody die, really, but he has a message from Spirit. His mother, I think Etty can explain it when she gets back. She's still on a call. Explain it better. She went to see a psychic the year after he died, and this psychic tuned in to him, or he came through. Actually, she says in the reading that she normally speaks to guides. I think she's not a psychic that normally spoke to, dead people. I'm not sure. And he channeled this message of what happened to him on this day, why he was here on Earth, and what all this, this trauma that we're going through is all about. Let me see if I can see. He was 21 when he died. Oh, there she is. She's got her hands up. There we go. There, she's back. You're back.
All right. Apologies, everyone. Please accept my sincere apologies. Okay.
That's okay.
So this beautiful divine being.
Mm-hmm. So his mother went to see a psychic. Is this right? She went to see a psychic, and the psychic said that she doesn't normally channel souls that have been on Earth. She more channels spirit guides, but he came through. Is that correct? Do you want to...
That is correct. That is correct. So Keshet, by the way, his name translates to rainbow. Yeah. And he was murdered at the Nova Festival on the 7th of October. And so his mother, as Karen shared, did go to a channel. She just really wanted to reach out. And the channel said that surprisingly he came through, because usually it's just the guides that come through. But he did really want to share a message with his mother that is in actual fact a message for humanity. I do want to acknowledge the channel's name. Her name is Ayalon, and she has given me permission to share this because it is really, really powerful. Do you want me to start reading, Karen?
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay. And so this was released on his birthday. Okay. And he continues to accompany us from above alongside many highly evolved angelic souls. And these are souls of angels and righteous people who have taken a role from above following their passing. Awesome. Their role is to protect, foster growth, and facilitate the transition to a new world. This incredible group of ancient souls chose their mission long before incarnating in a body. They continue to guide us and the world every moment. I want to thank them. To the amazing Keshet, happy birthday, because this was released on his birthday. And his words to his mum were, "Mum, I want to tell you that I didn't suffer. I was very scared. It was terrible. The fear was overwhelming. People ran and fell. I saw the dead, but I was in survival mode and kept running. I knew exactly what to do, Mum. I felt a voice in my head guiding me, telling me exactly where to go. I saved my friend, Shani Look, who was another one that was murdered, but I couldn't save her completely. We ran away. There was no time to think about others. Everything happened so fast. I asked for help, and even amidst the fear, I knew what to do. That voice told me to run. Moti came, which is another person. He called me. I knew he would come. He was sent to me from above. He told me he was with me, and I was with him. I got into the car with him, and we continued. We couldn't believe what we saw. It felt like a dream. He told me about himself, and I just listened. I felt like he was an ancient grandfather sent to help me, and I to him. At some point, we understood we were no longer in our bodies. We didn't feel the moment of death, but I saw everything from above. I ascended. It's so beautiful up there. At first, I floated up and down, trying to return to my friends, but they couldn't see me anymore. I realized I needed to help people. I called them to come up. It's so pleasant up here. Everything is open. There is no more suffering. I whispered to them, come up. Some listened and some didn't. Then we ascended to the first level. We held hands and formed circles, welcoming those who ascended. Not everyone found it easy. I helped people let go. It took some time, but there is no time. Then we were given rest. We ascended to a glowing hill and rested there. Large angelic figures above us performed cleansing rituals, washing away everything. We all lay on the hill and received energetic cleansing through funnels, washing away human experiences. This too took time. Those who were cleansed ascended another level to a higher plane.
I want to just stop here. Oh, there's so much in this. I have read this a dozen times, and every time I reread it or hear it, I get something else out of it. It's just incredible, this channeling. So when he says Moti came, was Moti a spirit? Do you know? Moti
yes,
came.
It feels like Moti was a spirit. And I have the sense that he was also at, it was either he was already in spirit, but it feels like he might have been at the festival as well.
Okay. And then he had left his body, and then from his spirit guide,
yes.
spirit, he was helping others leave their body. And then Keshet did the same. He was helping others. So as people were leaving their body, they were helping the others that were dying. But what's really interesting about this, and I've heard this many times in channelings like this, is that he didn't suffer at that moment of death. There was that frantic business before death, like running and, but he, at some point, he says, at some point I realized I wasn't in my body anymore. Like he didn't sort of suffer at that moment of death. And we hear that a lot when your soul sort of plucks you out of the body before your body actually experiences the explosion or the bullet, or so you're not suffering at that moment of death. And that's for everybody. You don't have to be white, black, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. That's like everybody. And so a lot of people, where we see this suffering and this torture of the human body, a lot of the times the soul's like, I'm out of here before that happens, right? And go on.
And then they don't realize there's a point in there where he says it took him a moment to realize that they couldn't see him,
Right. Yeah.
So he thought they could still see him.
Yeah, just sort of not realizing he's not in a body anymore. I had a girl on the show years ago who was hit by a car. She had a near-death experience. And the car hit her body, and her body went flying across the road, but her consciousness stayed in one place. And she looked back and she saw this car, and then she started floating up, and then she realized that in front of the car was her body. She didn't die completely because she came back to her body, but it's almost as if the body went flying, but the consciousness stayed in the same place. It was really interesting. But she didn't, again, feel any pain at that point. So let's go on. Understand, Mum.
Okay. Understand, Mum. I came into this body for a short time. I knew I was coming for only a while. I wanted to descend to your world, the earthly world, one last time. I wanted to feel what it was like to be an angel on earth, to bring beauty, feel love, touch, taste, and smell. I wanted to experience this world one last time because it is the last time for this world. This world is dissolving and a new one will take place. We came for this. I chose you, Mum, to help me and me to help you. I knew you would help me amplify the light and see the beauty. We are always together. We come from the same place. Now I help you from above. I will always be here, Mum. I chose to come and be a part of a group. We are a group here, a group of angels. Not all are angels, but I am in a group from the angels. We assist from above with this transition. Understand, Mum, a great gate has now opened. We are opening it. We are helping many souls transition. We are sending much light and knowledge to earth. I needed this experience in a body to understand the earth and help it. We have guidance as a group. Shani Look is also here. She doesn't hurt anymore. She has returned to being a fairy. I love her. Sometimes I give her balls of light. She has a different role than mine. She spreads light while I help people ascend. I open the gate. Everyone has their role, but we are together. even though still in Gaza, the hostages have an important role. Understand there are no mistakes. It's not easy for them, but their presence awakens the world. This is, This is not just a war over land or nation. Did you want to stop, Karen?
Oh, I just wanted to acknowledge that he talks about one of his friends that was in a human body has returned to that fairy energy. Like I've had Tanis Halliwell and many people on the show talking about the elemental world, and she talks about the hybrids in that they're humans, but they're hybrid souls because they have sort of worked in the elemental world, and she can recognize the hybrid souls. And he speaks about this. He speaks about one of his friends who has returned to being a fairy. I just thought that was so beautiful. And so then he goes into, this is not a war about land or
right.
nation.
I'll continue to read, but I really wanted to acknowledge the hostages. And, why I'm on call is because there is, we have a huge campaign, and I have been relating personally with a released hostage, and their purpose is to wake the world up, because unfortunately it's only through hardship and suffering that people wake up. And this person is the most inspiring, because even though he was in the tunnels, he chose light. He chose light and he chose love.
Wow.
So I'm just going to continue. So this isn't just a war over land or nation. It's a war for the Holy of Holies. And the Holy of Holies is the heart. Those without a heart cannot pass through the gate. This war demands that everyone reopens their hearts to compassion, love, and caring, and seeing everyone in the light. Those who open their hearts will ascend. Many will die. Some will ascend after death, and some while still alive. But dying isn't bad, he laughs. Those who need to stay will stay, and those who need to pass will return to paradise. The gate is open. I am one of the gatekeepers. That's why I ascended. It's a vital role, because I was also human. I can help people more than when I was just an angel.
Right.
Understand. Understand. Sorry, Karen, did you want to say something?
Well, I just think that's so important. It's like, often I've counseled people who have lost children, sometimes babies, sometimes toddlers, sometimes 10, sometimes teenagers. And they come for this really short period of time. And the message is, I came to connect in the human world with you on a human perspective, so that I can take you back to that knowing of where we come from when I ascend, when I leave the body, and you can feel that world, because that is our home, while you live and engage in this world that is so divided, that you can feel the unity and the peace of home while we are still here in this divided world. And that's exactly what he's saying here. And
that as a soul, he wanted to come down to experience it, so that he could be of more help, because he would have more understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Understand, Mum. I asked to come for 20 years and managed a bit more. He was killed at 21. I want to thank you. There's no need to thank you, because I'm always here and we are always together. Your time is on earth and my time is at the heavenly gate, but I am always with you, sitting on your shoulder and holding your wings. I send you signs and accompany your earthly role, carrying the torch of light for truth and light alongside all bearers of light. I am perfectly fine, more than fine. I'm fulfilling my role in heaven. Together, we are opening the gate. My role is also to help people ascend. I move between realms. And then, just as the session ended, just as the channeling ended in Israel, as soon as the mother wanted to say one last thing to Keshet, as soon as she opened her mouth to tell him how much she loves him and thanks him, there was a tremendous thunderclap that resounded across the sky from north to south. It was like the heavens had opened, and they both jumped from their seats, receiving the clearest sign from Keshet, the angel, who helps above alongside a vast group of pure souls who transitioned this year.
Oh. Big, huh? It's big. Oh my gosh, let me do a station ID break. Where am I? You're listening to KAren Swain. This is a new show we're doing on a Wednesday evening in the States, Thursday morning in Australia, called Elevate Consciousness, the awareness shift, waking the quantum self. The quantum self, what is the quantum self? That is that self we're talking about, that self that is not identified in our human condition, be it what religion we are, what sex we are, what socioeconomic, but we are identified with the quantum self, which is that infinite creative potential, the unified field of infinite creative possibility. And we are on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 and 105.3 FM syndicated radio, all over the place, hitting around 120 countries and streaming on many platforms. And as I said, Etty Ayalon is my guest today, a good friend. We're talking about how to be peace in a world divided. And I think that these messages of remembering who we are beyond the identities of this world and the traumas of this world help us return to peace. Help us return to peace. Yeah. So that was translated, that channeling was translated from Hebrew. And Etty was saying that the translation was pretty good because you know how to read Hebrew.
Yeah, yeah. I do a lot of translating. So, and because I love Hebrew, it's my first language. So just the word in Hebrew for peace, shalom, which a lot of you all know, the root of it is shalem, and shalem is whole. It's wholeness. Right. So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And so how did you know these people personally, Etty, the people the mother that had the channeling?
I don't know these people personally, but I do know the Gaza border communities that were affected personally because I work with them. And so I know that they're peace-loving, and I know that with the projects that they were doing, they were actually very inclusive of the Gazan population because they wanted to create jobs for them, so that they could prosper because their government wasn't doing it clearly. So even we as neighbors, they're neighbors, it's all about love thy neighbor, love thy neighbor. If we are taught, if you want to learn all of the Torah, which is the Bible, in one sentence, it's all brought down to love thy neighbor. If we all love our neighbor as ourselves, that is the easiest, most simple way. However, unfortunately, people are brought up, conditioned, programmed, and the stories everyone is running these days are not serving us anymore. They're outdated. And we need to, if we could each just drop the stories and just love thy neighbor, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Wouldn't that be amazing? There have been teachers in our world that have been teaching this for thousands of years. 2,000 years ago, there was a teacher teaching it. I mean, the Beatles were singing about it, like that was 60s. But it seems to be a message that we haven't heard maybe until now. As I said, when the guides, I said to them, how is this world going to shift, going to change from, everyone trying to kill each other? They showed me just mass protests, something I didn't understand 20 years ago, but I do now. I get it. It's like when people mobilize, there's powerful action. There is powerful desire behind that powerful action, but they're yet to find the energetic alignment with what they're seeking. Like any deliberate creator, like any human being who we are creators, we don't understand how creation works. That, when you want something, you have to align with that thing that you want, not the thing that opposes what you want. And but that will happen. I think that will happen. I don't know how long it'll take, but that will happen. But that first step is like, as Esther would say from the teachings, are like launching rockets of desires. So when you're out there protesting, you're launching all these rockets of desires for a different world, for a more unified world, a more peaceful world. I had a Garnet Schulhauser on the show many times, but one of his adventures in the afterlife, his spirit guide, Albert, takes him to the afterlife. He had a conversation with a terrorist, a Muslim terrorist who was killed, doing, what they do. And he said, "Why did you do that?" And the spirit spoke about the hypnotism, like he was brought up as a child, but to believe one thing. And he said he was conditioned to think that way. And throughout his whole life, he was a young man, he died in his 20s, he didn't know that he could think any other way. And so he spoke about what you were speaking about, like this conditioning that, and we all are like that. We're conditioned by the media, we're conditioned by our societies, we're conditioned by our religion, we're conditioned to believe in division instead of unity. Yeah,
and
strong.
Yeah, and in that case, it's brainwashing. It's terrible. I recently came back from Israel, and we actually met by surprise. It wasn't planned. We met an Arab doctor in Israel, an anesthetist, living on a kibbutz because he couldn't go home. And he told us that when he was a child, his father said to him, "If you go to the mosques, I'll break your legs," because his father didn't want him to be conditioned. I mean, he said it as a threat, not really intending to, but just don't go there, And so now he has a wonderful life in Israel, in a kibbutz, as a doctor. Unfortunately, he can't be in touch with his family because he's afraid that as a result, they will suffer the consequences. It's sad. And so how do we then break the conditioning? How do we move beyond the conditioning?
Yeah, well, the light workers of the world are knocking themselves out to try and teach this stuff. It's like when you entertain a stressful thought, when you entertain a thought of judgment or criticism, it's not what the other person is doing that's creating the thought. The belief is in you. The belief in unfairness, the belief in the conditioning is in you. So everything that we want in this world, everything we want, we think in the having of it will feel good. So all those people screaming about the atrocities of war are wanting peace. Why do they want that? Because peace feels a lot better than war. And the war is in ourselves. So it is a personal journey to alleviate the war in ourselves. And I think that when you, like Keshet said, when you can view it from that broader perspective, from that perspective of source or the other side, when you can see this game of life as what we can, it's not our truth. It's just the experience we're having as humans, but we come from this world of peace, and to bring that peace into the world. Yeah,
that's right. It's almost like, for me, it's so personal because it's my people, my ancestry, my land, my heritage, my country. And it's so easy to get caught in the loop and just go down the rabbit hole and see all the comments and all the haters and to be honest, I was always so proud of who I am, where I come from, and my lineage, and now I walk in the world and it's very easy to feel hated,
scared.
Hated, not scared,
Hated.
because I'm very strong in my trust, and so not scared, but to feel hated. And so then to still stay in your power, it just makes us dig deeper. I have to it's all there, and I know, but it's a choice to not get reeled in and caught in and stuck in that loop, because then they are winning over me as well, and I will not allow that.
Yeah.
I will not allow that. We have to rise above together. It's not about taking sides. It's really about picking each other up.
Absolutely.
And if there are people that are caught in the loop, you know, if we can hold them in the pure soul, because their soul is pure, you know, their soul before they incarnated and chose and program and all of that, their soul is pure. If we can hold everyone in the purity of their soul, so that there might be an entry point, so that we can shift the perception and shift the energy in that way, then please, we have to work energetically here.
Well, we're doing our work already, darling one, because Vet Girl 84 says, yes, hey, I realize I'm in a trance listening to them both. Love the rhythm of their voices, Karen and Etty. So we've all put Vet Girl in a trance. And Sun says here, sadly, our neighbors can be hard to love depending on their demeanor, lol. But I get what you are saying. Spread the love, not war. So good on you, Sun. And the beautiful Heidi here, she says, agree. Yeah, with Kevin.
And also just pay attention, because the warring energies are so strong outside, it filters into our daily lives, like just the war between myself and my teenager, and I'm thinking, or just where, you know, in our relation, in our experiences, it filters in. And so if you're aware enough, it's just like, okay, let's just take a breath. We're not going to allow that in. Stop and start again.
Yeah. Do you know what I found? I put on a Peace Day event, just over 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 2014. And every time I talk about peace, something around me happens that is not peaceful. And I remember on the day of the Peace Day event, everything went wrong. But I made this agreement with myself, with my soul, that no matter what happens this day, it was on International Peace Day, which is the 21st of September. So coming up, International Peace Day, which is a day was created by the UN and promoted by, I've forgotten his name, a day of ceasefire across the world. He wanted everyone to stop warring across the world. I think they managed it once, but the rest of the time they didn't. But anyway, a day of peace, that you only know peace when you're in disruption, because if all your ducks are in a row and everything's beautiful and you feel peaceful, that's really not knowing peace. It's like in the middle of the division and the trauma, if you can find peace, that's really knowing peace, right? So just like this morning, all this disruption's happening with your work and happening around me, and we're talking about peace. Every time I talk about peace, disruption ramps up. Disruption ramps up. Can I find peace in the middle of this disruption? Yeah, that's the challenge we give ourselves.
It is the challenge, and also it's really interesting, because I'm also taking a group of women through a process for this moon as well, leading up into our high holy days, and the whole process every day is about connecting to the divine, being more love. And so there's so much trust and surrender in there, and remember to handing it over. And like you, all this week I have been experiencing the delays and all the little glitches, and I'm just like, okay, just practice, surrender, hand it over, trust,
Surrender, hand it over, trust. It was so interesting before we went live having that chat with I want to thank Keshet and all the angels that are here with us. I want people who are listening to this on the live and on the recording, if you're listening back to that, to tune into the energy, because before we went live, I just tuned in because I was in stress, and there is like this army of angels that are with us right now, who really are like behind this message that we're saying, not just us, anyone that's spreading peace and remembrance of of home and who we are beyond this earthly adventure. And that barrier of me, I could perceive you, but I can't feel the peace. And they're showing me it's my responsibility. I said, can you send me some more peace? They said, we can send, but you've got a barrier up. You know, how they were showing me that's my responsibility to break down the walls that I've got around me. And those walls are those walls of thought, you know, stressing out. And it's that anytime you push against something, they're showing me now, when you resist anything, Byron Katie says this. She says the first resistance is the first act of war. So when somebody comes at you and, you know, says, you're terrible, you're an awful person, I hate you, as soon as you say, no, I'm not, you know, you're in resistance. But if you say, yeah, you're right, I'm a terrible person, I get why you hate me, there's no war here. Like, there's just energies just starts to flow. And I think that that's what we have such trouble with as humans, is letting go of our point of view. It's like seeing the other person's point of view. If we can just let go of our point of view, because that resistance of you're right, I'm wrong, creates the barrier that they were showing, that barrier I had around myself from feeling that peace, letting go of the resistance. Yeah.
And also when we are in those states of disharmony, it's because in those moments, we lose our connection.
Right.
We lose our connection. And now more than any time ever on the planet, I feel that nurturing the connection it's self-care. Like, we just have to include it in our self-care, because it's the only way, and it's muscle, and we really, really, really need to strengthen that muscle right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 10 minutes left of the show. It didn't go quite as quick as I thought. I thought that because the channeling was long, I thought we'd run out of time, but we have plenty of time. Your phone stopped ringing.
Thank goodness, that's it.
Any questions from anyone on the lives about how to find peace? Remember, knowing peace is in those times where stress is present, the stress in your own mind, stress in your life, and the work is finding the peace inside those times, yeah. Not always the easiest thing to do. Not always the easiest thing to do, but very possible.
That's right. But if we have the awareness to catch ourselves in those moments and just take a breath to come back and start again. And also, I will share in Hebrew, neshima, breath, and neshama, soul, are the same word as well. The only difference is one symbol, which is the symbol that represents the divine creator. So it comes from the same source. So just breathe and hand it over and then start again.
This is Etty's website. If you want to know more about Etty, her website is, how do you say that?
Ettinka.
So spelt ETTINKA.com.au.
That's
and Etty
right.
is a healer and a shaman, and puts on a lot of festivals, puts on a lot of events, healing work. She's amazing.
Amazing. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. I run new moon circles based on the Hebrew moon and the energetics of the Hebrew moon. And I also do readings, and I work a lot with the symbols of the Hebrew alphabet and the tree of life, based in the Kabbalistic tree of life. That's my passion, and they're really, really powerful tools, which, you know, in our belief system, God spoke the world into existence, right? And so that's why, if we are created in the image of God, then we also speak our world into existence. And that's right. We really, really need to pay attention to our thoughts and words. You know?
Well, our words are a continuation of our thoughts. People talk about this, the power of voice. And it's really the power of the energy behind the voice, because there are a lot of things that we say, you know, in language like, I don't know when it happened, 20 odd years ago. Like sick in the English language usually means malaise, illness, not feeling well. But then all of a sudden the younger generation changed sick to the meaning of good, like, oh man, that's so sick. So it's not what we say, it's the energy behind the words, because like all of a sudden sick means good. So is it the word that has the power, or is it the energy behind it, like the intention, the feeling behind? So yeah, pay attention to how you feel when you speak. My mother used to say this to me, somebody that was not spiritual or religious at all. She died at 50, poor love. She suffered for about 5 years before she died. But she always used to say to me as a kid, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, Karen. You know, when she used to say, apologize to your brother, and I'd say, sorry, but I didn't mean it. You know, I don't apologize, but I'm saying the word. And she used to say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, which was such truth I didn't understand as a kid. It's not what we say, it's the energy and the intention behind it. Like, is that feeling behind it? Yeah. I want to ask you before we go, we've got 4 minutes left. How did you feel after you read that channeling by Keshet? And how did it impact the community, your community?
Look, it comes from a community of light workers, and I feel very blessed that I am surrounded by a community of light workers. And so, you know, they do, and it's very moving. It's like, it brought me to tears. It's hard. The whole experience is heart-wrenching. It's so heart-wrenching. However, when you see beautiful angels like Keshet, and when you understand that there is no coincidence and everything happens for a reason, and there is divine order in everything, we need to really just come back to the divine order in everything. And with Keshet, you know, translating to rainbow, right? And for us, the sign of the rainbow that came after the flood, that there will never, with the promise that there will never be such huge destruction like that again. So we have, it's up to us. It's up to us. And so with all the messaging and the intention behind the messaging and the energy behind the words, that's how we really, really need to discern, because we're being bombarded. And with all the AI, it's so hard to differentiate what's real, what's fake, what's made up, what's, you know. So
actually, it's actually not. When you tune into your guidance, even when people send me emails, I know when they've used ChatGPT to send the email. And I've reached out to people and I said, did you use AI to write this email? Like, they use AI to listen to my shows, and then and AI gives them you know, what they thought of the shows, and they send it and they tell me that they've listened to the show and how much they love it, but they haven't, because they've just used AI. So I call them out on that, because you can feel it. You can feel it. 100%. But look, before we go, we've got 2 minutes left. Leslie has a question. What does Etty recommend about what to do about the war between Israel and Palestine? Well, it's been sort of the whole show. We've discussed that. But yeah, what do you recommend? 2 minutes to go.
You know what I can say is, unfortunately, it's the innocents that suffer on both sides. You know, the politicians are playing their politics, and it's the pawns that are us and the Palestinians that are suffering. I want you to know that on the ground there are many groups of Israelis and Palestinians that come together in peace for peace. Unfortunately, the media doesn't share those stories because it's not in their interest. So, and also when you go to protest, I know a lot of people go with good intentions in their heart, because they're thinking that they're marching for humanity, but right at the front of the protest are death chants. And with all the good intentions, you know, your energy is being hijacked. And so you really need to be discerning and come together. It's just about being love and uniting and letting the old stories go. They don't serve. How can we move forward together in love is the question. Let it all go. Yes, healing has to take place, but, you know, we don't have time for victimhood. I know people need to process and do everything, but if we could just let the old stories go and move forward together in peace.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, darling, for being on the show. It's such a blessing. And
For having me.
thank you for taking that hour out from your work.
So important. Lots and lots of love, everyone, and peace, peace, peace.
Peace be with you. Yeah, I'm going to cry. Peace is about. When I was 13, we've got to go. Dad took me to Sunday school we'd never been before, and I was resisting it. I don't want to go to this. And this young woman said, "You're the peacemaker." And I thought she was so wrong at the time, because I used to fight with all my brothers all the time. But actually, it turns out.
And here you are.
Right. Here I am.
Yes, and thank you to Keshet and all the angels.
Thank you to all the angels. Big love to all of you. You've been listening to Elevate, the new show on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. We're syndicated radio streaming on 107.7 and 105.3 FM. Thank you all, and thanks for subscribing, and let me know what you thought. Love to hear your comments after the show. Big love to all of you. Bye for now.